Good. Well, Alex, it's great to see you again. We caught up in October of 2025. It's a new year, and there's a lot of new things going on. So it's great to catch back up with you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, you bet. So let's get into it here. Before the first time we did this, we kind of got an overall view of who you are, where you're from, where you're going, your vision. But I want to dig a little bit further into what you're putting out into the world. So for context, so we can catch up, almost kind of like a show recap. Talk to everybody a little bit about what you do on a regular basis.
Yeah, I'm the founder of a AI tech company. I've been at this for more than 3 years now. And I the way I think about it is I'm really good at building technology and especially taking technology and productizing it. Um, but I don't think of myself as a product builder. I think of myself as my unique gift, meaning understanding what creators, innovators, idea people need, and my ability to take technology to better serve them. So if you step out from the whole thing, to answer your question, what I do and why I do what I do is my goal is to enable creators, the idea machines out there, to be able to create with little barrier to execution as possible. So you come with the idea, whatever it is. It could be an app idea, website idea, product idea. It could be a book idea. It could be a TV show idea. It could be a music idea. And my goal is to build tools, AI tools that enable you to take that idea from your head and make it real. So that's that's why I work every day.
So the one thing that made that with what you're explaining there that makes me think about the relationship that Steve Jobs had with Wozniak.
Mhm.
Wozniak was the guy that literally took the vision because Steve knew how to kind of see what people needed. He knew how to hook in the client so they were customers for life, and he knew how to execute these ideas. But it was almost as though Steve was the AI engine. He was the one that would pump everything out,
Exactly.
you know?
Yeah. And that's I think that role can be played with AI tools these days. That's good news for idea people. So one way to think about it is I don't know if I mentioned this on your last show, but if you look at history, people that you remember, the biggest creators, Da Vinci, Picasso, Thomas Edison, even industrialists like Vanderbilt, or today Elon Musk, they all had a huge volume of output, meaning they created a lot, just quantity wise. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's what made them actually really good at their craft because through the process of repetitive, high frequency creation is how you master your craft. Everybody knows that. The problem is the barrier to execution uh, is high. Like you might have a lot of good ideas, and through execution, you might learn more. But a lot of people are not really good at execution. That's to me is the difference between, Thomas Edison or Leonardo da Vinci or Picasso and another dreamer that might be listening to your show that their brain is full of ideas and vision, but because they don't have the execution ability, that's the only thing that separates them from greatness, so to speak. So the good news, there's a lot of good and bad that comes with AI. Forget about the bad. I focus on the good. The good is AI allows you to execute your ideas. Okay. And that to me is a game changer. It allows more people to put out a huge volume of work and execute on their ideas. And it's not necessarily app idea, even though that's how we started, but it's any sort of idea. It could be like a book idea, it's a comic book, it's music, it's video, it is anything. Okay. As long as you have the idea, AI should be able to allow you to execute those ideas and put the volume of work out. I think that is the best thing that will come out of AI revolution. And I'm here to enable it to make it easier and better and more accessible.
You know what's interesting about this is that I'm always so inspired by interviewing minds like yours and with these ideas. And maybe in a subconscious way, about 2 weeks ago, I've had all of these running ideas in my head throughout my life. And I just went into an AI engine like Gemini and I just put them in there. So I've always had this idea. I've had a pool for years, an above ground pool. What if we could harness all of the rainwater
Mhm.
to come in some system into the pool so you don't have to spend all of this money on water, right? And then I was thinking about what if you had an idea of almost like a spaceship looking device that would go over your yard in the fall and it was a big vacuum that would suck all the leaves up. Things like that. So I put it into this AI engine and it made these images and I'm like, "Oh my God." It's like it took what I said and actually made it into something that I thought would happen. And I think there's a lot of people out there that think like the dad from Gremlins, who have all of these ideas, these wonderful ways of squeezing juice and these elaborate systems. So, what has been a couple examples of people that had these dreams and you allowed and helped them to be that conveyor belt to get it done?
Oh, there are so many of them. And let me, before I go into examples, let me actually add something to what you just said.
Yeah.
So there are two components to this enablement. Call it great enablement of people with ideas. Okay. Component number one is technology and software, which we are really good at, and I keep working on it on a daily basis. But the second piece is actually the hardest one, which is the mindset of the person. So, in other words, you can build the best tools to enable people to execute their ideas, but as long as the person doesn't know about it, doesn't know it's even possible, or they don't even like it doesn't cross their mind that, hey, maybe instead of just having these ideas, I should take 5 minutes, see if I can execute on those. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So without that mindset, that is the hardest piece for me, believe it or not. It's not building the technology that I know how to do. It's like, okay, but how do I overcome that barrier belief? So it's like, how do I tell people, hey, you are enabled, you can use these tools and execute your ideas and all that. Now, to give you examples, we obviously have a lot of people who build apps and websites using our platform. So it's just it's funny how many people have websites and app ideas. Now, in the truth is, the vast majority of those ideas are not good. Okay, but it doesn't matter because you, as the idea person, do not know if an idea is good or not until you execute the first one. And based on the information that you get from the market, then you go to the second one, third one. So another again mindset thing is people are like, oh, but is my idea good? I'm like, it doesn't matter. You think Picasso, when he did his first painting, was it good? No, not really.
Right.
So it's that through the process of creation and repetition, you learn what works and what doesn't, what the market wants and what doesn't, right? So it almost as if like I'm trying to um, beg people. I'm like, look, grab your first idea, and first you need to kind of take that first step. It's just like, oh, there are tools now that enable me to execute my ideas. That message number one.
Yeah.
Message number two, do not dwell on your first idea and try to assess if it's good or not, because the truth is you don't know, and most other people don't know either. You're no one around you know. It's just unknowable. So the way to do it is to actually go through the motion, like volume of work. You know, think Thomas Edison. Like it's just like the first thing he built probably was completely useless, right? So you gotta first believe that the key to becoming really good, having good ideas, not just a lot of ideas, is to execute. Two, know that there are tools that help you execute them. And once you understand those two, then the third step is just grab your first idea and put it through the machine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So see what happens and learn from that.
It's interesting. Picasso started out he was a vastly different creator and a painter in the
Exactly.
beginning.
Exactly.
And then
Yeah.
it was almost like he adopted this David Letterman ironic style of kind of making fun a little bit of
Mm-hmm.
the seriousness of art and got
Mm-hmm.
whimsical. And then he became Picasso. But if he
Mhm,
didn't do all of that, I hear all these little viral clips that go through all of these feeds on Instagram and all this. And the thing, and as you sift through all these ideas, the thing that always comes out to me is that Seinfeld always says, no matter what you do, he'll always say it to graduating classes, whatever you do, work hard.
mhm.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the
Yes.
first step, right? And it's exactly what you're saying. If you have these ideas, what's going to be the problem if your ideas doesn't come to fruition? What's the worst thing that's going to happen? You're
Nothing.
going to be right back where you were, right?
Yeah.
But you know what you have? You have the gumption to know that didn't work and the next time it could. I mean,
Mhm,
that's the starting point. That's like even with Edison, I think Edison had an unbelievable amount of patents and ideas that literally failed before
mhm.
things started happening.
Yes. 100%.
Crazy amount.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting about what you're proposing too is that we're in this era where we think AI is going to replace humans. That
Mhm.
there's this indisposability of us that we're going to be afraid that it's going to hedge. And what you're proposing is harnessing the power of this technology to aid us, because I think that's the most beneficial way that humans can use AI to be in some level of harmony, is using it along with our human intellect.
Yes, 100%. And I tell you, um, there is if you think of it from a theoretical perspective, um, each one of us, you, me, every single one of your audience, we walked a path that is different than anybody else. We have our life experiences, upbringing, books we read, people we talk to, education, whatever. We are very different, every single one of us. And that is actually what AI doesn't have. So if you think about AI models, they are all trained on the body of essentially on internet knowledge, and they are all converging to the same thing, which is this think of it as the average of human knowledge, right? They're not spiky. Humans are spiky, so to speak. They may suck in 99% of things, but in one thing, most people have a unique talent and gift or experience that they are incredibly good at it,
Yeah.
or they have the potential to become really good at it. So, my thing is amplify that 1% and use AI for the remaining 99%. And that's your unique gift and talent. And that's how you make yourself uh, indisposable. So that I think is kind of part of my message is look, dig deep. What are you good at? I think I'm lucky in the sense that I know what I'm good at. I'm good at productizing new technologies, bring it to make it a useful product for people. Yours might be different. Someone else's might be different. Every single one of us, first, we need to establish what that is. And sometimes we don't know what it is until we try. That's another part of it. So life is complicated. Most people may think they're good at something, but they're actually good at something else, which is fine. But how do you establish that? The way you establish that is you try your hand at different things. So dig deep, find something you think you're good at, your zone of competence. You have a lot of ideas in that area, and you execute it with AI doing the other 99% of the work. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think that's how we will survive and be um, useful for the future generations, essentially.
So another idea I have, and it's going to spark a question for you, is
Mhm.
this. I have an idea of coming up with an app that would deploy on your phone. If you dropped your phone, there would be some level of force field, kind of in a Star Wars way around it, and it would suspend it. So it wouldn't fall and it wouldn't break. So my question to you is this: how many inventions would you get coming your way that other competitors would want to thwart? Because there's a ton of people out there that are making cases, glass, fixing phones. What if there was a way where literally if anybody dropped a phone, there would be some gyroscope that would go around it and it would just suspend and it wouldn't break, it wouldn't fall. That would be the end of it. How about the indestructible pantyhose? Because those things rip and they always have to make new ones. What about competitors? Do you ever see competitors that are like in a level of sabotage because it could infringe on their profit line? Does that happen?
Well, I think part of The main reason why capitalism is such an effective system is because it allows for creative destruction. That's a term that people use.
Yeah.
So think Uber versus the taxi cartel. That's creative destruction. End of the day, the consumer benefits from it, but creative destruction. Now think about self-driving cars versus Uber drivers. That is also creative destruction.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense. So I think part of the beauty, and you can also say ugliness of capitalism, which net is the most effective economic system that we know. People might argue with me, but history and data backs me up.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so is creative destruction, meaning people who come up with ideas that replace an existing idea or business or industry. Okay, and shifts customers to a new thing, so customer benefits, but the old establishment constantly gets ripped apart unless they are the creative disruptors, meaning they disrupt themselves, which a lot of great companies do. So 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 the short answer to your question is that that is expected, and that is net a good thing for the world.
So let me ask you this. Do you think with the speed of AI right now, with the speed of development and ideas and things that are changing around us, we're so far in the peanut butter jar we can't see the label? Do you feel like we're at warp speed right now?
we
That-
are we
yeah,
are yeah, I think there's like, think of it as um technology curve and diffusion rate. So technology curve is how quickly the technology adopts, like evolves, and then diffusion rate is how fast people adopt the technology. Okay, so we are in a state where technology's speed of improvement is astronomical, like astronomical. Like 6 months ago, that's why I have to constantly recreate our products from scratch, is because what we created 6 months ago is no longer cutting edge. So we have to constantly repeat and build and build and build to remain on the cutting edge of technology. The part that is slow is not the technology, it's the diffusion rate, how quickly people adopt. People are not even like thinking that, oh, the technology might be able to do it. In fact, most AI companies will tell you, us included, is that when I look at how people use our AI versus what it can do, I want to say people are using maybe 5% of the potential of our AI products. Maybe. Okay. So it's like I need to remain on the cutting edge because there's like some early adopters that need the cutting edge. So that's why we remain on the cutting edge. But if I stop developing our AI, honestly, for 6 months, it wouldn't change anything about our economics because people are not even like exploring the full potential of the product 6 months ago. So 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 that is, I think, the diffusion rate is the slowest piece of it, is a bottleneck. Now, that diffusion rate, meaning people adopting it, the fact that it's slow, actually people can use it to their benefit. So in other words, if you realize that, it is an opportunity for you because the technology is out there. 95% of people are not using it to its full potential. You can be the person that bridge the gap. Does that make sense for
yeah,
other people? And that it on its own is a huge opportunity.
yeah,
So essentially, technology going like that, diffusion rate is going slower, that gap is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. There, and you can go in there and just lift people and lift people and lift people to get closer to the technology curve, and you're doing them a favor, and you're creating value, and you can capture some of that as your own business. That means agency models, that means consulting businesses, that means education businesses. There's like, you name it.
yeah. As the man behind the mission, and you see all of these advents and inventions and wonderful things that are happening, what's been one of your favorite tech advancements, favorite apps that you've seen in, say, the last few years?
Mhm. um, I think so LLMs were obviously, AI models were the biggest, but in LLMs specifically, I want to say reasoning models was the biggest breakthrough that I saw. And really, reasoning became good end of December 2024. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and what I mean by reasoning is before reasoning, LLMs were a little bit like parrots. So they would just pattern recognition and give you predictable output. When I saw reasoning models become good for the first time, that's when I knew that I kind of expected it, but I had not seen it. Okay, until that level. When I saw AI models be able to reason, I think that was the biggest breakthrough and the thing that will change everything. Meaning, AI can't just doesn't just execute predictable tasks. It can reason for you. Okay, meaning it can become an expert walking you through things that previously only other human experts could walk you through.
Yeah.
And that I think reason. So to short answer, reasoning models.
Yeah. Yeah. So the easiest way to explore this further for anyone out there is Famous.ai. It's an
Yes.
interface that's a lot like Google. You can get in there and instantly see exactly what you're looking for. There's options to sign up, there's options to explore. Is there anything else that people need to know about your wonderful model?
Yeah, we launched supercool.com probably after our last conversation, which is more general than Famous. So Famous is for app building. It's a specific product. It helps you build apps and products. I built Super Cool to enable people on other aspects of creation because building apps and websites is one way of creative expression, but there's art, there's music, there is books. Okay. So Super Cool does all of that. So my goal with Super Cool is to provide the most comprehensive creation engine for the idea people out there. It's a very singular mission that I have. So it's like I want to enable millions, hundreds of millions, if I can, as many people as I can, to unleash their creative potential, whether it's art, music, books, research, apps, anything. I want to be able to unlock what's in your brain.
Absolutely. And there's examples on there. Create a birthday party planning guide, generate a gardening guide for vegetables. There's all these practical ideas that
Yeah,
exist.
exactly. Exactly.
Alex, I'm so glad that we caught up and we could dig into this further. It's fascinating, and we could probably go on for weeks talking about how all of these ideas and everything is shaping our world right now. But thank you for taking another go at Famous Interviews to kind of get into the marrow a little bit, into the bone. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. It was great being here.